Welcome to the podcast. This week we will talk about Israel's new Prime Minister taking his position, the statement of the G7 group on China, and a draft for a new legislation in Hungary that would seriously curb the rights of free press and LGBT groups. So let's get started. After 12 years of Benjamin Netanyahu being Prime Minister, Israel now has a new head of government. The new PM, Naftali Bennett, has sworn in on Sunday, addressing his new cabinet and saying the country was at the outset of new days. The 49-year-old far-right former settler leader promised his government would work for the sake of all people, naming education and health reforms as priorities for the future. Mr. Bennett, the leader of Yamina party, became Prime Minister after a power-sharing deal with Yair Lapid, head of the centrist Yesh Atid party, who will take his place as the head of government after 2 years. Lapid won a confidence vote in the Israeli parliament by a razor-thin advantage of 60 to 59 seats. This means after 12 years of being in the position of Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu has been forced out of office and will become the leader of the opposition. Groups that have been protesting for months outside Netanyahu's residence gathered to celebrate his departure from office on Sunday. World leaders have congratulated the new PM, but representatives of the Palestinians have reacted dismissively to Israel's change of government, saying it is unlikely to bring a positive change in the Israel-Gaza conflict. At the end of a 3-day summit in England, leaders of the G7 countries released a joint statement urging China to respect human rights and fundamental freedoms. The G7 group is made up of the world's 7 largest so-called advanced economies: Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the UK and the US. In the summit, pledges have been made related to a number of issues, including the coronavirus pandemic and climate change, as well as the position of China. Issues referred to in the statement include human rights abuses against the Uyghur Muslim minority group. Since 2017, China has detained and imprisoned more than 1 million Uyghurs and other Muslims. Reports on the detention camps have highlighted physical and psychological torture, but China has been denying the allegations of human rights abuse. The G7 statement also calls for a high degree of autonomy for Hong Kong and demands a new investigation in China into the origins of COVID-19. In a response to the statement, China's embassy in the UK has accused the G7 of political manipulation and spreading baseless accusations. In Hungary, LGBT groups and human rights activists have expressed concern and outrage about a newly submitted legislation by the nationalist ruling party. The new law is supposed to crack down on pedophilia, however, it is also targeting LGBTQ people by banning content it sees as promoting homosexuality and gender change to minors. The proposal for the legislation would ban LGBTQ content for under 18s, including educational material and advertisements deemed to be promoting gay rights. In a statement, the biggest Hungarian television channel, RTL Klub, is protesting the draft for the new law, saying according to the proposal, any content featuring LGBTQ people would essentially be treated as horror films and could only be shown late at night. According to the channel, this would include such movies as Bridget Jones's Diary, Billy Elliot, Philadelphia, even some parts of Harry Potter, and series like Friends or Modern Family. The exclusion of minorities undermines the fight against negative stereotypes in society, argues the statement from the TV channel. Hungary has been criticized for the inequality of LGBTQ people in the country's legislation. The Hungarian constitution states that marriage is for heterosexual couples, and recent changes in law have made gay adoption even more restricted than before. Last year, the Hungarian government condemned a children's book showing classic fairy tale characters as representing minorities such as gay and Roma people. The far-right nationalist ruling party Fidesz has called the book homosexual propaganda, saying it should be banned from schools. That's it for this week's podcast. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back again next week.